Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CGU Guest Speaker Series. My name is Jeremy McWells. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions for the School of Social Science Policy and Evaluation. Today, this is another Guest Speaker Series event where we have one of our faculty members to give us some insight about his particular program. And once again, we are joined by a very special guest. I will let him go ahead and introduce himself. So please, the floor is yours.
All right. Hi, my name is Greg DeAngelo. I'm an Associate Professor of Economics in the Department of Economic Sciences, and I'm also the Director of the newly formed Computational Justice Lab at CGU.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Really, I like to start these off with just telling us a little bit about your story. So you're the Associate Director, Associate Professor for the Department of Economic Sciences. How did you get there? Tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so I mean, it goes back a ways, but by chance than anything else, I ended up getting into college, and I ended up going to an engineering school for my undergrad. And somewhere along the way, I got bored with thinking about how technical things affect other technical things, and I became interested in how we could use data to understand people. And I was confused and kind of meandered around a little bit, but found that economists were the people who were using data to understand social systems. And got linked up with some great faculty at, mentoring at the undergraduate level who encouraged me to go to grad school. I was in upstate New York. Those are long, cold winters, and I visited Santa Barbara, and next thing I knew, I said, I definitely want to go to grad school if I get to hang out here. And so, long story short, I moved across the country, and I pretty much overnight felt like, okay, I'm doing this. And so I became an economist. And most people have no idea what that even is, right? And so I felt really lucky that at a young age I got exposure to it, and it kind of opened the doors for me to get me on this path.
Amazing. Yeah. Your story is very interesting on how you just kind of came about this role and this passion for economics specifically. So speaking of which, in the market, you can get an econ degree in so many different places, but what sets apart this particular program here at CGU from the other options that students are going to have available to them?
Yeah, so I'm sure you've had other faculty members on here who say things like, we're a graduate-only program, and that's got a lot of perks, and it has a lot of them. So I'm not going to speak to that. I'm going to speak more specifically to kind of like, what is it about training in the econ department, or specifically under me, that makes this experience so different from other places? And I would say that the number one thing is apprenticeship style learning. Students who come and work with me, they spend long hours sitting looking at the same computer screen I'm looking at, with the same frustrated look on their face, trying to understand what is it that's making, that's given me an issue here. And it's in that environment where so much of the educational process here is focused around 2 or 3 or 4 people, so really small groups, sitting with the professor or group of professors, and kind of hashing out what the problem is here, how are we going to solve it, which data sets are we going to need. So it's a lot of what I do is built around data and working with a lot of computational power. So that's what makes this program, in my opinion, so different, is the numbers end up being quite small, and half of my teaching is devoted to just sitting with students on a daily basis and working our way through stuff.
That's amazing. Yeah, it really speaks to the fact that you all as faculty members are in the trenches with students, right? And they're alongside you doing the same work, assisting, which I think is an awesome opportunity.
Yeah.
Speaking of opportunities, what type of opportunities do students have to learn outside the classroom? That is a part of learning, right? So you have the inside the classroom learning, and then you have the outside.
Absolutely. The learning, the research process becomes the learning process when you're in grad school. And for me, my approach is that I deep dive on learning about public sector agencies and social outcomes. So the best way to do that is to go learn every single possible institutional detail about these agencies I can. So I work a lot in the criminal justice sphere, and so that means I have become very good friends with the district attorneys in the area, the judges in the area, the sheriff's departments, the police departments. So I go sit in-house and obtain a lot of data from these agencies as well. But that means that I have to learn who they are. I have to learn how to work with public sector agencies. And that's not a skill. There's no training for that you can do in the classroom. You have to go get your feet wet and learn how to do that. And so I load my car up and we head on over to the agency and hang out. So yeah, the students learn a lot through that.
That's great. That's great. And so safe to say when a student comes to CGU and works under you, a faculty like yourself, their network essentially expands
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about the lab that you're associated with, the Computational Justice Lab. Can you speak a little bit about that and why it's such an amazing opportunity for students to get involved in that particular initiative?
Yeah, so the newly formed Computational Justice Lab, it's starting its second year now at CGU. The goal here is to think about, again, social outcomes that are going to be impacted by the criminal justice system and to understand the causal effects of different aspects of the criminal justice system or the civil justice system or just in general social justice arenas. But think about what causal effects are these having on people's lives. And so the aim within the lab is, as I mentioned before, link students to research projects that are linked to public sector agencies, a lot of times local, but sometimes federal agencies as well, to really dig deep on some policy change or some set of policy changes that are being made at the state, the local, or the federal level, and start to dissect the impact that these are having on individuals' lives. And again, most of this focused around criminal justice issues, but not always. But the main thing, heavy on the data side and deep on the causal effects, not just that things kind of seem to correlate, but like what is the true causal effect here? And so as these agencies are sort of spinning upward and getting more intelligent about the possibilities with data, we're trying to sharpen their lens, their focus of their lens, to be more on what's the causal effect.
Yeah. That's an amazing opportunity for students to come and join. Do you guys have any events coming up or any events that you're hoping to plan in the near future?
Absolutely. So we are constantly, and you can check out our website, which is computationaljusticelab.org, but we constantly have data science workshops. So there's coding workshops that students can attend. In addition to that, we host other workshops that are more research driven. And every week we have a kind of a seminar that sometimes is internal folks and sometimes is external folks. And then lastly, we do a summer empirical workshop where we bring together about 30 undergrads and grad students from throughout the country. We fly them all in and they spend 1 week intensively learning from the faculty within the lab. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity.
And a great plug, by the way.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So we're going to end this by asking, usually I ask the faculty members why CGU, but I think you did a really good job on explaining that.
Good.
So why don't we go in the direction of why graduate school in general? If there's a student out there that's kind of on the fence of trying to make this decision, why should a student start applying for graduate programs in general?
Yeah, so I think, I always say for the well-caffeinated, high-strung undergrad who kind of felt like I was devouring my way through grad school, or through undergrad, grad school seems like the natural next step. But I would also say that for the student who found themselves scratching their head saying, that's curious, I'd like to know more about that, that's another environment where grad school could be a great outlet for you. So, and I should also say that being a good undergraduate student doesn't mean you're going to be a good graduate student. Grad school is about creativity. It's about digging in, being creative, and being relentless and tenacious about the process and the projects that you're involved in, the research. So, why grad school? Well, grad school enables you to dig so much deeper, and for me, it enables you to dig at the causal effects of social policies that are impacting people, throughout the world. And this gives you a platform where you get to dive in for a long stretch of time and really, really deeply understand things. And I'll just say it one more time, and it is not a precursor that you be incredibly intelligent and ace all of your undergraduate courses, that you're going to be the best grad student in the world. It's really about your level of creativity and your level of grit. Those are the things that will get you through.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. That was great. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. Please be on the lookout for more videos such as this. Check out our events page at www.cgu.edu to look out for more on-ground events. Once again, thank you for Professor DeAngelo for coming by, and we'll talk to you guys very soon. Take care. Thanks for watching. If you love this video, make sure you check out our upcoming events at www.cgu.edu. Don't forget that the priority deadline is November 1st. Right after that, our fall open house, which is November 2nd. If you want to register, make sure you click the link in the description. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel here at CGU. Take care.